Welcome into the show, you hooligans. I'm Devin, that's Zane, and this is Buffet Sports. Our lives have been in shambles, but we're back. We're making big changes. They're on the way. We're going to talk about them progressively over the next couple weeks, but none of that it matters.
That's what we are. We're progressive.
No, we're not. Anyways, if you want to be a part of the show, go ahead and comment down below the best comments from the week. We talk about them every single week. We're going to talk about ours at the end of the show. While you're down there, there's a little button. It's a like button. Fucking smash it. Next to that, there's a subscribe button, and next to that, there's a noti bell. Click both of those so that you know when we post videos, and also so that we can get our subscriber number to the next 1,000 Buffet boys. Again,
That's
I'm
gonna
Devin,
make us come.
that's Zane, and this is Buffet Sports. It's all you can eat. Let's get into week 4 of the frickin' NFL, baby.
Yeah, okay, good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in. Dropping heat like every season. Underdog like Willie Beeman. Classic like Dom singing. Blasting like bombs.
Do a little recap.
Little
Let's get
recap
into,
on the
let's
week.
get into conviction predictions after that. So we're going to talk about week 3 of the NFL season. It was a good one. Another surprising one.
It was a hot one.
Look, I forget every year you can take chances in the first 4 weeks. In September, early October, you can take chances on games, money lines, because we're still figuring out who's what
Yeah,
and what happens when.
everybody's got to lose.
Everyone's got to lose. Injuries happen left and right. All of it. There's a lot in this week. A lot of upsets. Broncos beat the Bucks. What the fuck is that? Are they better than the Lions? Does that mean?
Yes, that's
Bucks beat the
that. What
Lions?
that means?
Is that what that means? The Broncos are going to the Super Bowl?
Broncos are Super Bowl right now.
The Giants beat the Browns? Like, what are we looking at here? The Rams beat the Lions? Or sorry, the Rams beat the Niners?
Beat the Niners. Niners beat. Who did the Niners beat?
Doesn't matter. The first game I want to talk about.
Rams going to the Super Bowl.
Let's go to Packers Titans first, because we need to talk about this.
All right.
You already have it up. Look at you. Look at you. God, beautiful soul. This is Matt LaFleur's Picasso. This is his Mona Lisa. Malik Willis has won 2 football games in a Packers uniform. And guess
I don't know
what?
how he's done it.
Guess what? He threw for more than 200 yards this week.
Yeah, he was great this game.
They turned Will Levis around, bent him over, spanked him. 30-14.
That's hot.
Everything that we thought Anthony Richardson was going to be. And now Malik Willis doesn't have the gun, the absolute rocket launcher attached to his arm.
The weapons. You know, he's not getting stopped in the TSA check through like Anthony Richardson is.
He doesn't have that, but he is everything we thought Anthony Richardson was going to be so far.
He's been playing a hell
Also,
of a game.
6 carries, 73 yards, 1 touchdown, 202 passing yards, 13 for 19, 1 touchdown. Matt LaFleur needs to be talked about on the same level that Andy Reid is talked about, because he can coach the position of quarterback.
Yeah,
if you
they
can
changed up their entire offense for him.
This is a team, this is a revenge game. Hell, the Titans let go of him literally 4 weeks ago. Malik Willis got to the Packers in the final week of the preseason.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Titans didn't think we're going to see Malik Willis in week 3.
Yeah,
but here he is. But here he is. Will Levis is on a streak right now. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Consistent.
He's trying to break that Jameis Winston. He's trying to break the Jameis Winston record. That's what he's going for right now. He's going for legendary
30-30,
stats
30-30.
right now. No, he's trying to be 40-40 over here. That's what he's trying to be. Trying to be a 40-40 type of guy.
Nonetheless, we all thought in fantasy, Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs hasn't really been all that much of a factor. We thought the Packers were going to go to die in fantasy, but instead they have been relevant and even 2-1. Look, they win next week. If I'm Matt LaFleur and I look at Jordan Love, I would say, look, dude, if you're not even 99%, stay off. We've got Malik. He's going to get us there. They win another game. They're 3-1. You could go 500 over the next until December, you can go 500 and still be a 10-win team and make the playoffs.
Yeah.
If you get one more win here.
Yeah. And we'll talk about it once we're doing predictions, but
so this comes into question. What does this look like afterwards? Is he just going to be a backup quarterback? I don't know. We're to be seen. We don't know. But this is truly, we need to start talking about Matt LaFleur in another tier of coaching, because what he's doing with Malik Willis is unbelievable.
Yeah, before it was, okay, yeah, Jordan Love, but it's been the same process that the Packers have been doing, is you get a guy from the never eat soggy waffles from the West Coast. Get a guy from somewhere over in the West Coast. You bring him in, have him sit for a while, and then he turns into greatness.
Bro,
so you can't give it to Matt LaFleur. But it turns out that no, maybe it is a lot of Matt LaFleur and how he develops.
No, we've thought for the longest time that the Packers know how to pick quarterbacks. No, they know how to pick coaches, because the coaches are picking the quarterback. Matt LaFleur picked Jordan Love, handpicked him, and bred it. That's pause. And groomed
Coached
him.
him.
That's pause.
Okay.
He picked him and then developed him over 4 years. Okay. The Packers know how to pick coaches, and this is just a different breadth of just
fresh air
coaching. Amazing. Yeah. Clap it up for Matt LaFleur. This is a masterpiece. If they win another one with Malik Willis in this next week, which we're going to talk about who they're playing.
But well, he's only looked better, especially because they're doing a lot more read options. They're playing to his strength. They, like I said before, they've changed a lot to make Malik Willis successful over there, and it's been working with the guys that they have.
Very. So clap it up for them. Next one I want to talk about, show me Texans Vikings, because this is a great game here, and this will come into boom or bust, so I won't ask the specific question, but this division's going to be a bloodbath. This division's going to be a bloodbath. Vikings 3-0, Packers 2-1, Lions are going to be good. Bears are going to be in the basement, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately.
Well, I mean, unless Caleb could turn around, but I mean, this division just took a turn.
Either way, Sam Darnold. This is what everyone saw at USC.
In my ear. All right.
This is what we saw at USC. And he's got all the physical tools. He's got the explosive arm. He's not got a rocket launcher, but he's got a bazooka. Not a bazooka. He's got a rocket launcher. All right.
He's got a grenade launcher, not a rocket.
Yeah, there you go. Rocket launcher. Or yeah, rocket launcher. Or it's grenade launcher.
Grenade. It's a grenade launcher. They're not the same thing.
Granada. He's got a Granada launcher attached to his arm, but he's not making mistakes. He's playing really well. Jones, we thought he was we didn't know what he was.
Oh yeah, I'm feeling really great about my Aaron Jones pick right now.
We didn't know what he was with the Packers last year because he was hurt. He comes into Minnesota and just plays well. Look, there's something specific with this.
19 carries, 102 yards.
That won't show up in the stats. Everyone that's faced the Vikings defense has said their defensive coordinator is an absolute psycho. And it's true. I watched a couple things about it, the way that they're scheming things. He has defensive backs and safeties flying around the field to be able to make it to spots. He's showing looks that completely are just screwing with quarterback's head. CJ said it after this game. Who'd they play before that? Oh, Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan had them in a twister. That defense looks so freaking good. Sam Darnold's not making mistakes. 181, 4 touchdowns, 17 for 28. Love to see it. Clap it up again for Sam Darnold. Redemption story.
And here's the thing.
Another Baker story, potentially.
Here's the thing. Sam Darnold, same age as Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
So we're looking at Joe Burrow like, he's going to be around for another 8 years. Can Sam Darnold be the next guy for Minnesota for the next 8?
This is where it comes into question, because you asked about J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah.
And in this scenario, this is the best possible thing that could have happened to the Vikings. You took a chance on J.J. because he doesn't have a lot of tape. He doesn't have a lot of evidence that he can throw the rock. Sam has been ran through the washer so many times. And now you've got something. Now you've got something. They traded up the Vikings traded up what, one spot to get JJ. So it's not the end of the world if you let him sit or if you let him go or if he becomes a backup. Sam Darnold, if you're winning and they sneak into the wild card, or hell, they sneak into they make it into the playoffs flat
Well, I
and they
want to
win a
say
playoff game, how do you turn him down? I
that's true.
if I was them right now, I'd be like, okay, here's 2 years 60.
Yeah.
2 years 60, we can bridge him and then we can figure out what we need to do for them. If it's just a flash year, if it's not, whatever. 2 years 60, make it majority of it guaranteed in the front half the next year, and then let it rock.
Well, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Kirko wasn't the starting QB for the Redskins either. I believe it was RG3. Then Kirko got that spot.
I think he was
Goes,
like a 5th round pick.
yeah, 5th round pick. I know it's a little bit different stories, but the similarities of basically two QBs who everybody was counting out, they go to the Vikings. All of a sudden, I mean, Kirko was there for a long time, and then he
The
leaves.
thing with
Sam
Sam though is
Darnold's there
he's got
now.
legs. He can actually move around in the pocket, and that's
Yeah.
so valuable, especially in this offense. And if you could clean up his mistakes, which that was his big thing. If
Yeah,
he
and
just
it
makes mistakes,
seems, I
so
mean, no interceptions, 4 TDs here. I mean, it looks like Kevin O'Connell knows what QBs need, and he gives
yeah.
it to them
Yeah, I
sexually.
mean, look, if you can clean up, as we can see, if you can clean up his mistakes and make him not throw the ball around crazy, and look, everyone's going to make mistakes, everyone's going to take the dive and try and make the big play, but if you can keep it to a minimum, you can be a starting quarterback in the
All right,
league.
what's the
So
next one?
shout out Sam. Next one, let's talk about Bears Colts because this one's short. It's not about Caleb, it's more about one of our guys. Anthony Richardson's a mess. Let's just call a spade a spade. Anthony Richardson is a mess. 10 for 20, 167 yards,
Mm.
no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. They still win the game. Okay. What was it? 21-16?
Yeah, 21-16.
Also, side note, not that important,
21-16
but
right there.
Caleb, one of I think he's the first quarterback to throw for over 300 yards this year and not win a game.
He did throw
So,
it 52 times. So, I mean, usually when a QB throws it 50 plus, they have over 300 yards.
but the magic number is somewhere in between 35. Well, yeah, like 35-ish is like kind of the magic number
Yeah.
for a winning game. But what I want to talk about more specifically with this game is we were worried that maybe we aren't going to see Joe because Anthony's going to be healthy. We didn't count out the possibility that Anthony Richardson might just be dog water and just completely inaccurate.
Well,
What if this team is potentially, the defense has some work to do for sure,
yeah.
but this team is potentially a playoff team. Could we see a little Joe magic?
We
A
could see
little,
a little
a
Joe
little
magic.
Joe magic?
And here's the thing, if this was happening last year, this takes a lot of heat off of Bryce because it's two guys now, two guys taken in the first round who are making a lot of mistakes, not doing what's right.
But
I
they
know
knew, but Bryce
Anthony
was
had
supposed to be a
great.
savant. Anthony Richardson was supposed to be this. They knew he was a project. They knew he was just this miraculous athlete that they were going to have to develop. But Bryce was supposed to be this football savant.
What I'm trying to say is, if this continues, do we have trouble in Indy to where next year they're looking at somebody else to take the reins for a year?
No, because you've got Joe and you know what you've got in Joe, and worst case scenario, you can play him for another year.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Is like, does Joe take the reins for next year?
Oh,
If this
yeah,
continues, if
could
Anthony
be.
Richardson doesn't improve, I mean, we saw how he was in the first 4 to 5 games last year. That
And he
doesn't
was
seem to be the
fantastic.
case right now. It seems that
Yeah.
everybody, ever since the defenses all of a sudden started switching, they started playing against deep coverage. They started playing more cover two. It seems that QBs across the board have been having troubles with that. So if Anthony Richardson can't make the adjustment, is it sort of that
It'll be a
same
QB
scenario?
battle. It'll be a battle. If Joe finishes the year, they make a playoff, they get a playoff spot, or they even are contending for one. It'll be a battle for who's QB1 going into year technically
Hey,
3 for Anthony Richardson.
Alex Pierce right here. He's the leader. 1 reception for 44 yards.
There's a
The
certain
leader.
connection. There's a certain
There's a certain
connection.
connection. He only had one reception, but it was for 44 yards. I don't know. Maybe I should pick him up on my fantasy team. I have no idea, but all I know, he's the reception leader over there on the Indianapolis Colts. So, and Michael
Either way,
Pittman,
that's pretty much it. That's all I had with that. It was just maybe we get to see some Joe magic this year.
yeah, and then we're not talking about little Monday night. Not talking about that.
Not yet. Not yet.
All
For
right, I
now, we're
got
gonna
one.
head to the Finns Seahawks game.
Oh, Fincy
We're going to
Hawks.
talk about the one you're typing in for the last recap game, and then we'll go into our conviction predictions. But we got to talk about Finn Seahawks because the big thing with this one, I don't know if are the Seahawks fraudulent because week one they play the Broncos. They have a really good
Mm,
defense. They've got a defensive coach. Bo is shaking in his boots. He's throwing the
yeah,
ball, just throwing dots to the defense. Okay.
yeah.
So are they fraudulent or are they for real? Because they got the Broncos in week one. Who they get in week two? They got um let me see here. They got the Patriots in week two.
Yeah.
Seahawks win. So it's like they got the Broncos, they got the Seahawks, then they
They
get
got
the
the Broncos, they
Finns
got the
without,
Patriots.
or sorry, they got the Broncos, they got the Patriots, then they get the Finns without Tua.
Yeah.
So it's like, are they for real? Are they not? Now they've won in convincing fashion in most of these games.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't particularly close, but
24-3.
and don't get me wrong, I love a Zach Charbonnet boom. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I love a Gino, another redemption story here. Gino just looks like this is year, what, 3 now, where he's consistently above 90% in QBR. He's got his completion percentage. He's got a little bit of legs. Gino is a good quarterback. He's not great, but he's a good quarterback. Are they for real, though? Is this defense for real? When are we going to get to see them actually match up? And I think in week 4, we get a real matchup for them yes, we do on Monday night. And we're going to talk about that's one of our spotlight games. But this will be their first test in week 4. Are they for real or not? Because I don't really know. Like Colin Cowherd has them
Yeah.
as the 5th best team in the league, which seems like a
Oof.
wild stretch to me. Seems like a wild stretch, but I can understand where he's coming from. They've got 2 backs that could arguably be bell cow. They've got a number 1 receiver. They've got supporting receivers. Gino, as I just talked about, is what he is. So what do you think? Are they real? Are they not? I lean on the side that it's not real. And we're going to see that here in week 4.
I think they're like me in fantasy right now. That's what I think. I think I've been given a really easy schedule in fantasy. I think I got really lucky in this last week. I don't think they did get really lucky in this last week because Tua wasn't there. I think they absolutely get shredded if Tua's not there. I think the morale's down for the Dolphins. And when it comes to those other 2 teams, I just don't think they're at the same level as the Seahawks. But the level that the Seahawks are at is mid-grade. That's where I put them. I don't put them higher than mid-grade for the
I
type of
don't
team
see
that they have.
5. I don't see them as 5. Look, and I love me some Devin Witherspoon too. He's a great corner, but the 5th team, the 5th best team potentially, or
I
just
don't
even
see it.
power rankings, I don't see it. I think
Well,
it's
it's only because
fraudulent. I feel it's fraudulent.
they have to play the test game. You know, every team
And that's
plays
week 4. We're going to
every
talk about it.
yeah, every team plays one of those teams that's you know they're a good football team. You see how you stack up against them. You see how they play during that game, and then you go from there. I don't think the Seahawks have played a team like that. The Dolphins were supposed to be that tester team for them, but Tua isn't there. So I'm gonna go for right now that they're frauds. But
Yeah, I
that's
think
only
so
because
too. I think
they
they're
haven't
fraudulent.
played a good team yet.
Yeah, I agree. And we'll see this week. If they pull off this win this week, then maybe they're for real, but I feel it's fraudulent. So I don't know. Anything can happen, but I feel it's fraudulent.
Yeah,
Let's
you're
talk
playing
about
teams without that great of offenses, right? We're talking about how
Mhm.
great the defense is. I mean, the Dolphins without a number 1 QB, the Dolphins without a QB who can sling it. I mean, that's a terrible offense. That's just what it is. You're playing the Broncos with a rookie QB. Who they play in week 2?
Pats.
Yeah, you're playing the Pats without a
Jacoby
real
Brissett.
QB as well, without any real weapons there. You're not playing great offenses. I know that they're supposed to have a good defense this year, but it just doesn't. I'm worried that when they play a good team, all their problems are gonna show.
Yeah, it feels, and even in the Broncos game early on, now it was week 1, I get it, but like there was clear issues even in that game. So I don't know. It feels fraudulent to me. But let's talk about Ravens boys because this was
Yeah.
a good game. The score does not indicate
Yes.
how much of a just the Ravens dominated that game because the Cowboys kind of made an empty comeback at the end
Oh
of the
my God.
game. The Ravens dominated this game. The D line for the Cowboys, which was supposed to be their strong suit, obviously Micah Parsons, Lawrence, were supposed to be.
Doesn't work with a mobile QB.
We thought that they were, one of the best defenses in the league. They're kind of showing out to be frauds, and they're kind of turning into what we thought they were going to be because they didn't have a run game. Rico Dowdle, 8 carries, 32 yards.
Yeah.
Like the offensive line is not the same. Dak did rush for a touchdown, threw for
What
2, 379, 51 passes though, under 100, under just over 50% completion percentage. It's not the way it seems when you look at the scoreboard. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. I mean, look at Derrick Henry's
Yeah.
numbers: 25
Yeah.
carries, 151, 2 touchdowns. He dominated them.
What I'm going to say,
Dominated them.
it's less about Lamar and it's more about the Cowboys defense can't stop Derrick Henry. They can't stop a good running back, and it showed in this game. I mean, Derrick Henry looked like he did when he was 2 years, 3 years into his career. Everybody thought he was getting old. Me and you thought he was getting old. He did not look old in that game. He looked like
No,
prime Derrick Henry.
and they got the Browns and washed Deshaun Watson, and then week 2 they get the Saints and get beat on. They're starting to show where we thought, okay, maybe they could win their division. Now they're starting to show exactly what we thought they were going to be, and I don't want to say it, but I think they might miss the playoffs. There's a potential if the Eagles win that division,
and that's bad news for them.
Yeah, because they're SBOB every year. They're Super Bowl or bust every year. It's just who they are. If the Eagles win the division, the Commanders are better than we thought. We're gonna talk about them later, but they're better than we thought. And then the division in the NFC with the Lions, the Packers, why can't I think of them? Lions, Packers, Vikings. That division's really good. That potentially could be a 3 playoff team league. The Giants are starting to figure it out a little bit. Daniel Jones is calming down. They've got an O-line. We're going to talk about that game
because that's showing up. Malik's Daniels, he's calming down. Malik is heating up over there.
Right. We're going to talk about this because Thursday night game, the first game we're going to talk about for predictions involves the boys. But this one, they're starting to show their true colors here. And the Ravens.
It shows the difference. Like I said, like there's top tier and then there's mid tier. We always put the Cowboys in the regular season as a top tier team. It just shows, I mean, what the Ravens they were 0-2 or just they were 0-2 and then they play the Cowboys and it was a very dominant game. The Cowboys had a comeback there at the very end of that game, but it was extremely dominant and it kind of shows where the Cowboys are. Like I said, it was a test game. Cowboys didn't look good coming out of that test game. They don't look good at the very end when the Ravens kind of gave up and then they had to pick it back up again. They
gutless performance. Yeah, gutless performance. But this is also really good. Like on the other side, we can't discount this. This is what we thought the Ravens were going to look like, where it was the best backfield in NFL history. Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson. I hope we get to see more of this from Derrick Henry. It would be nice to see a Derrick Henry renaissance.
Well, but, like I said before, when it comes to getting into the playoffs, Derrick has been able to do that. Lamar's been able to do that. I think they were feeling the pressure being 0-2 for sure. And then you got
because statistically, if you go 0-3, you're out of the playoffs, which we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But.
And you got a sneak peek here of what these 2 superstar X factors can do, especially against a defense that we have ranked very high. Everybody else has ranked very high. You got to see them absolutely just shred them.